Hi, I'm Susan Shaner with Sage Leadership Strategies, and I'm your host today of Community Forum. And I have the great pleasure to have with me Kate Lupo and Matt Kalmans, who run the Westport Youth Festival. And I just realized I think I got that name wrong. Westport Youth Festival is what I said, but Film Festival.
Westport Youth Film Festival, yes.
Right. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
I know, Kate, you were on a couple of years ago in another matter. You've since graduated college.
That I have.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I want to hear about both of your backgrounds, but Kate, why don't you start with just telling us a little bit about how you came to the Youth Festival.
Okay. So as Susan said, as you said, I just graduated from Middlebury College with a degree in art history. I actually did not study film in college, but I did do a lot of arts event planning and fundraising in college. I ended up, actually for the project that I was on the show on 2 years ago, the mural at Weston High School, I took that idea with me to Middlebury College, and I actually produced a mural at Middlebury, which we should talk about later.
Yes.
But that was a huge project where I had to do a lot of fundraising and planning, and I took those skills with me when I was searching for a job after I graduated, and I came to the Westport Arts Center where they were looking for someone to be the administrative director of the Westport Youth Film Festival, working with the students, Matt Kalmans, the festival director, to produce the festival this year. And I was really interested in this job right out of college because it allows someone to be able to manage all the different aspects of an organization as if you were running a little it is a program, but it's also like running a business. So I wanted that to get that experience, and I was really happy that they offered me the job. So.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. And Matt, you're a senior in high school.
Yes, I'm a senior at Weston High School, and I've been working on the festival now for 4 years. I started off having gone to the festival in middle school and thinking it was a really awesome thing for high schoolers to be running this international organization. So then when I got to high school, one of the first things I did was I signed up to join WYFF, and now I'm the festival director this year.
So when you call it WYFF, WYFF.
Yep.
So that's what everybody calls it.
That's what everyone calls it.
Okay. So that's really fascinating. So tell everybody, what is the Youth Festival? It's an international organization.
Yeah, so WYFF is essentially a film festival run entirely by high school students for high school student filmmakers. So the way that WYFF started was that there were two high school students, actually not even high school students at the time, they're 15 years old at Weston High School, Chris Casey and Emma Wiseman. And they were filmmakers, really into filmmaking, and they kept submitting their films to festivals, but they kept feeling marginalized because when they'd submit to all these adult festivals, the student competition would be relegated to some corner or basement. And they felt like there really needed to be a venue for high school students to show their films where they weren't, you know, a sideshow. They were the main event. So they created WYFF, got all their friends together, and really launched this international film festival where they wanted students to be the stars of the show.
That's pretty incredible. So it's 8 years old now?
It's 8 years old, yes.
So are they still involved?
They're involved in an advisory position. David Burstein, who helped Chris to found the festival, gone on to do great things. He's also involved. Chris is involved. They're also both in Abu Dhabi right now, filming a documentary for NYU's school there in Abu Dhabi. So they're off doing great things. Yeah,
they cite WYFF as being a transformative experience for them as young people. It gave them the confidence as young entrepreneurs, young filmmakers, and they've since gone on to do these incredible projects. And it's very inspiring what they're doing. So I encourage the audience to look up Chris Casey and David Burstein, Emma Wiseman. So very inspirational.
And now they're 23, 24 years old or something, if they were 15 then?
Yeah.
Yeah, you won't even believe what they've done in those years since WYFF.
Yeah.
David, as I mentioned, who was one of the directors of the festival in its early years, he went on in his senior year of high school to make a documentary about the 2008 presidential election and its importance in terms of the youth vote. Because when he saw the last presidential election, he saw how apathetic the young people were in that election, and he really felt inspired to say, you know, there's all this potential for the youth of this country to really make an impact. So he went around the country meeting with famous actresses, politicians, really notable people, asking them, why is it important for young people to get out and vote in this next election? And he compiled all his footage into a documentary, and he made this film called 18 in 08. And then after its completion, he went around the country to different college campuses and communities showing this film to young people, and then at each of these events, he'd sign up people to vote. At the end of the time he'd gone around the country promoting this film, he'd shown it to he signed up 25,000 kids to vote.
Yeah.
So it almost sounds like Michael Moore, like, you know,
Yeah.
when he did his road trip.
Yeah.
That's incredible. How inspirational.
Yeah. And David's a close friend of mine. He brought his film to Middlebury College, and we did a screening there. And what's cool is that another reason why I think I also wanted to get involved in WYFF again, bringing it full circle, is that David, Chris, and Emma and I are all the same age, and I actually was involved in WYFF when I was in high school, and I was a volunteer for WYFF as well, and I saw how cool it was as well, and I knew that I wanted to be a part of it again. So it's kind of cool that, you know, we're all friends, and we all understand and appreciate this creative force in this festival and how inspiring it is for all of us. For kids at such a young age. Yeah, to be empowered as leaders and to be in the spotlight. I think Chris wanted to create, as Matt said, create an event and a venue that was professional and where youth were the stars of the show.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to build this year, and I think we have succeeded, and it's going to be awesome.
So this 2008 one, Matt, it sounds like, were you there and you saw it? Were you in?
Yeah, when I was in middle school, they had postered the whole school with posters for the festival. And I said, this looks cool, let me check this out.
Yeah.
So I went to the festival, and I don't think ever before I'd seen young people running an organization. Always in my life it had been adults running organizations, running events. It's the first time I saw, you know, these kids are only a couple years older than me, and look what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that really sparked in me an inspiration to get involved in this and other things.
So Kate, so you're the, I guess, adult helping run it, right? The rest of the kids are all
what happens is that we have 20 high school students from 6 different schools in Fairfield County who are on the WYFF board, the board of directors. So they're
26.
No, 20
from 6 schools.
From 6 schools.
Oh, from 6 schools.
And then there's an adult advisory board of professionals, film, TV professionals who live in the area who are interested in the festival, have been involved for a long time. Chris, David, and Emma serve on that board as well.
Okay.
I am sort of in between both groups, and I handle the administrative elements of the festival that can't be done during the school day, obviously. A lot of the fundraising is stuff that I've, fundraising events, working with the students on that. But, you know, Matt has really been in charge of, we did a ton of outreach. The festival has sort of stages, doesn't it? There's the fall where you're recruiting all the students to get involved. Then there's the fundraising. And then mid-year, like right around January, you've got to get the word out to hundreds of filmmakers across the country and the world. So Matt can tell you guys more about that.
But to answer your question, we really work together.
Okay.
We essentially do the same things. I mean, Kate works a little more with the Westport Arts Center, which is the umbrella organization of which we're a program during the day, working with them. But really her purpose is the fact that we're in high school and we're in school during school hours, and a lot of the times there are organizations, there are businesses, there are sponsors that need to be contacted, you know, during regular business hours that we're not able to contact. But then on weekends after school, we really take control of, you know, a lot of the design, marketing, fundraising, production, really putting the festival together.
Okay, yeah, because when I contacted both of you, you both sort of had, so you're like co-directors kind of.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that is very cool. So you start in the fall recruiting kids, and then are they making their films all year round, or how does that?
It's interesting because there are 2 sets of kids. There are the kids that are on our board, many of which are filmmakers, but not all are. I'm not personally a filmmaker. I just think this organization is an incredible thing. There are a lot of kids like that are into business and organization. They work on our board, but there are also a lot of filmmakers. But the people that we reach out to submit films to the festival are filmmakers from all over the world. In the 8 years that the festival's been around, we've received 2,000 submissions from around the world, from 40 countries in every state in the United States.
That is cool.
Yeah.
So how do you get the word out to them?
Well,
It's a lot of emailing, posting on blogs, finding people on YouTube, contacting schools that have over and over again submitted really incredible films, like Harvard Westlake. I just have to give them a shout out. They've submitted incredible films to WYFF over the past 8 years. They might actually come to the festival this year from California. So there are these programs that we depend on every year that send big batches, but there are also the filmmakers that hear about us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. Our social media presence this year has, quadrupled, and we have done so much to spread the word through the internet. And so as the landscape of technology and media has changed, a lot of people have actually said in our questionnaire we filled out this year, a lot of people said, they heard about us through Facebook, and we were like, yes, like we actually did.
Yes.
It actually worked.
Yes.
So a lot of hours of volunteer work. And
because this is the only organization of its kind, really, right?
Yeah, there are a lot of film festivals, as we said, that are run by adults.
Yeah.
There are a lot of film festivals that cater to college kids and younger. But there's no other organization that's run by high school kids for high school student filmmakers. And this is, in that way, a very valuable thing for high school kids that want to learn about film, make films. This is really the only organization of its kind.
So how does the festival run? So you get kids excited and interested, and they create their films wherever they are in the globe, right?
Right.
And then...
So there's a very interesting process where not only do we have this festival, but we also have events throughout the year, as Kate mentioned. We had a screening of Focus Features Jane Eyre earlier in the year. We sold out the entire theater. 350 people came, and the director.
So it's to get people excited about films and making films. So obviously that wasn't.
And we brought the
filmed by.
And that was also an educational event. I mean, it was a fundraiser for us, but we were able to actually get the director of the film to come and speak about the film, and of course our whole student board was there, and the audience learned from the director about this movie. So WYFF is not. This year we were really trying to not just, we have the festival in May, but we wanted to make it a year-round program where we were bringing in directors, talking to people about the importance of film in the community, creating these events that were inspiring people and getting people motivated for WYFF in May.
So it sounds like it serves a couple different purposes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's educational, it gets them motivated and excited, it's a great fundraiser.
So.
And it kind of keeps this whole notion of filmmaking vibrant all year round.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
And then, so after all those filmmakers create those films, then they submit them to us, whether online or through mail, and then there are 2 rounds of judging. The first is our board, including Kate, sits down one weekend and watches every single film.
So you have, like, my daughter and I call them movie marathons. So you have movie marathons.
It was an epic movie marathon.
Tell her where we did it.
In Weston Library. We just
really?
camped
in the
out
community
in Weston
room.
Library, in the community room, and just watched every single film. And then from there...
Do you have popcorn and you all talk?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was,
do you have, like, a rating sheet? Like, how do you do that?
Was it like 8 hours in a row one day?
Yeah.
We were watching over 200 movies. We were watching.
So how long are the movies?
They vary in length. Some of them are very short. Some of the animations are only just over a minute, but then some of the longer dramas can be over 20 minutes. So it really varies in length, but in general, they're shorts.
So do you have like a criteria sheet that you all like check off, or you just talk, or how do you evaluate?
Well,
this year, I mean, Matt did a very good job creating a criteria sheet, but we really just talked about it as a group before we commenced the judging at the first round. That is, we wanted to create a festival that in the past there have been the festivals have shown upwards of 70 films in the past, and we this year wanted to bring it lower, really get the best of the best. We were really looking for the gems.
So people don't get overwhelmed, or it's just there's
we wanted to make it around 50 this year. We also wanted to have balance in all the festival categories. We have nine festival categories. Should I name them?
Yeah.
We have comedy, drama, animation, documentary, experimental, music video. Help me.
Oh, social
action, and
Best in Connecticut.
Best in Connecticut, and audience choice, which is actually decided at the festival. But the other 8, we wanted to make sure we had balance in all of those categories, so that we had.
And by balance, you mean just enough in each category.
Yeah. Enough, and to be able to send to our professional judges for the second round, and which.
So the second round is really, I think, the exciting thing for the young filmmakers, because these films, after we whittled them down from over 250 down to 50 of the best films.
Can I just ask you how do you decide within those categories which ones you're going to pick?
Well, it's really it's a lot of things. It's a lot of different things.
No, it's a lot of different things because we had a criteria sheet, but in the end it came down to a lot of discussion.
Yeah.
It's like curating an art show. It's like you have to make sure the films go well together, like they're appropriate, that they're that they look good, that the quality is top notch.
So you have certain quality that you criteria you start out with, but then you have a discussion.
Yeah. There's a lot of discussion. There were a lot of debates that we had that went on for a long time, but that's good. I mean, art's supposed to spark debate.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, because we have all different levels of familiarity with film and the kids that are on board. Some of them are filmmakers, some of them have only seen movies in movie theaters.
Yeah.
So then, but at the same time, both of those opinions are very valuable, because the kid that hasn't made a film himself is really a cross-section of the audience, because a lot of the people that come to this festival are just movie lovers. They're not filmmakers themselves.
Right, yeah.
So their opinion is very valuable. So it's really good to get all those different angles, and then when all that comes together, it makes a very well-rounded festival.
That's a good point.
And then after...
So you start out with your criteria around, is it well made? Is there, good cinematography? Is it a theme? Kind of all the basics.
Yeah, right.
Okay, and then you have this puts and takes and debate, and you come up with your list.
Exactly. And we whittled it down to 50 of the absolute best films that I think we've seen ever. And those films we then send off to judges, professional judges, people that are Emmy and Oscar nominated filmmakers, to people that are presidents of large companies. Our music video judge this year is the president of VH1.
So how do you decide who's your second level of judges?
It's a lot of different things. We looked. There are a lot of people that have done this in the past. I mean, originally, probably the first couple of years, they struggled getting filmmakers to really take interest in this.
Yeah.
Of that caliber. Yeah. But then with that, a lot of filmmakers, as we've gone on and established more connections, have said, this is really something we're interested in. A lot of the organizations that we partner with get funding through. A lot of them know people that are of this caliber. And in general, a lot of the people that are involved in making films at that level are really, really passionate about young people and young filmmaking, because that's how they got their start. So they're willing to give back, and they're very involved in that. So in that way, we're very fortunate.
So how many judges do you send the films to?
Well, for the 8 categories, we have 8 judges.
Oh, so you'll send for comedy or whatever.
We send all the comedy films,
ones, and then he decides, he or she decides which one would I pick.
Right.
They choose the winners, and then the winners will be announced at the festival on May 14th. We have a WYFF Awards ceremony this year, which we're going to make really professional. And it's going to be like a mini Oscars. The students will get Tiffany & Co. Crystal Pentastar Awards, and they'll also get $250 cash prizes, and then one category is actually $500 cash prize for social action. And that's sponsored by the Sunrise Rotary Club.
And the cash prizes are sponsored by the Broadcast Film Critics Association.
And Tiffany & Co. Westport donates the Crystal Awards every year. So actually this was new this year. Matt and I were very passionate about making sure that there were cash awards, because we think that we want to be able to provide potential funding for future projects. And we think that these students could use that.
Right now they do it all themselves. It's all self-funding, right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes a lot of these students are working with film programs where there's funding from a school or something. But we felt very strongly that we would get more and better submissions if we offered cash prizes too, like making it more competitive.
So is there a submission fee and all that?
There's a submission fee.
Application. And,
this year.
And so how do you verify, or do you verify, that these films were actually created by the students themselves and not somebody helping them in the background?
Matt did a lot of verification.
Yeah, we do a lot of research into where the films come from.
Yeah,
a lot of them come through programs that are very notable for doing this kind of thing. So automatically we know that those really focus on this kind of thing. I mean, in reality, a lot of these programs have advisors that are adults, but I mean, a lot of this is a learning experience. So it doesn't bother us that, one kid is getting help from a teacher or a mentor, because that's all how we grow. But I mean, every single one of these cases, the film was conceptualized by a kid, it was produced by a kid, it was directed by a kid. So in that way, these are all student-run. They're all students.
So the film festival is in 2 weeks, May 14th.
Yes.
At
From 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. at the Fairfield Community Theater in downtown Fairfield, Connecticut.
So you managed to get the whole theater for the whole day?
Yes.
Yep.
That's incredible.
We're paying for it. It's not free.
It's not that incredible.
No, but we wanted to, this is where WYFF began. It's a wonderful old theater. It's got a lot of charm to it, a lot of history.
And it's not just confined to one theater. It's that theater, and there are satellite venues that all surround the theater. So it's really a whole campus of activity. All of downtown Fairfield is going to have tables with volunteers advertising the festival to all the patrons that are walking up and down the streets and in those restaurants and stores. And there's going to be a stage outside the theater with all kinds of music and all kinds of other stuff. So it's really not just movies. We've got movies, panels, workshops.
Yeah. So really, it's a
music.
festival.
It's a festival.
Yeah, this is probably the most ambitious schedule WYFF has ever seen. And our panelists this year, for our VIP panels, we've got a big break panel. It's called My Big Break, in which we have TV and film industry professionals coming to speak about the moment in their career where they went from amateurs to professionals and how that happened. And we've got Golden Globe nominated actress Cynthia Gibbs speaking. We have the executive
because she graduated from
Staples, exactly,
yes.
And she's a friend of the festival and of the Arts Center. So she'll be speaking about being a young actress and breaking into the film industry. Matt was able to be in touch with the executive vice president and CFO of HBO, who's going to be speaking.
So we've got all kinds of perspectives on this panel. It's not just like these are all filmmakers. We've got a producer, director, executive, and actress. And who are the two left? The director.
David Straighten is a TV director and has directed episodes of Dawson's Creek and House, the very notable TV shows. And then the fourth panelist is Michael Hausman, who was the executive producer of Amadeus, Gangs of New York, and Brokeback Mountain, all Oscar-winning films. And he's now a professor at Columbia for film. So this is a really solid panel we've got. We worked so hard to get these people, and they're coming, and they're excited to see the films. They're excited to interact with the filmmakers. And then Matt can tell you about our featured VIP panel.
Yeah, so then probably the one we're most excited about is right before the awards ceremony, there's a panel called Filmmaking on the Campaign Trail. And Alexandra Pelosi, who's an Emmy-nominated documentary filmmaker, and she's really, really awesome. She's made tons of documentaries on HBO. Obviously, she's got a lot of experience working on the campaign trail. She's worked for NBC as a correspondent following Bush on the campaign trail, and has lots of experience doing that. And it's really interesting because she started out just as a correspondent, but she started taking footage of what was actually happening on those campaign planes. And she put it all together and made a documentary film, and it ended up being nominated for tons of Emmys. And then from there, it launched a whole different career of hers into making all these documentaries that are now shown on HBO. And you know, she kind of evolved from a journalist into a filmmaker, so that'll be really interesting to hear about.
Very cool. So you're showing the films, but you're having all this other activity in the surrounding area for the whole day. That's a long day.
Right. So our schedule is actually, if people want to visit our website on www.westportyouthfilmfestival.org or wyff.net, easier. There's our whole festival schedule is on the festival page.
So they could come for the whole day, the whole shebang, or they could come for a portion of it if they want to capture something.
But so we've got, as Matt said, we have the films that are screened throughout the day. We've got the panels interspersed in between. We've got music in the outside plaza in front of the theater, 2 great bands playing. And then we'll also have, for the first time ever, we have 2 workshops. We have an educational component to the festival this year. 2 WYFF alumni are coming back to teach 1 workshop on how to make a viral YouTube video. And that alum is actually my sister. And Lupo, who has created promo videos that have reached over 45,000 people. And then the second workshop is going to be taught by a WYFF alum who's going to teach about 16mm hand-painted animation techniques. So it's 2 really cool workshops, and that's going to be at the Fairfield Arts Center, and I have to recognize them for their support because they're letting us use their space as our office and our headquarters throughout the day, and they've been very generous.
Now, you know what? I have a quick question because it's the Westport Youth Film Festival you're having in Fairfield.
I know this is the perpetual.
Actually, everyone asks this.
Why is it in Fairfield?
Well, to tell you the truth, the kids were from Weston. No one's heard of Weston outside of Weston for the most part.
So most of the kids are from on the border are from Weston?
The kids that started it were from Weston.
Weston, right.
So they weren't going to call it the Weston Youth Film Festival because we have like 2 commercial businesses. So Westport's the next largest town.
Yeah.
And they ended up having it in Fairfield because Westport really doesn't have a movie theater right now. There's no venue for this.
Oh, it used to.
And Fairfield has this really vibrant downtown area.
Yes.
So it would make more sense to have it in Westport, but right now there's no venue for it.
And the theater does have character in Fairfield.
Right.
Yeah, and when Chris Casey founded this festival, as Matt said, he wanted to create a venue where the students were the stars, and this was very important to him. He wanted students to be able to see their work on the big screen.
And that has a big screen.
Because that's a huge, big deal for a filmmaker at this age, to see their work on a big screen and to see the audience reaction to the film.
So cool.
And so, actually, there's an initiative in Westport now to bring back, I have to mention that there's an initiative in Westport to bring back a movie theater. But, you know, from right now, I mean, the community theater is a great venue for us. So.
But your offices are in the Westport
Arts Center.
Yep.
Yeah.
On Riverside Avenue in Westport.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So can you give us, we have like another minute, but can you say anything about any sneak previews on any of the films that are going to be shown, or any star films, or you can't let it out?
Well, we can say that there are 16 out of the 50 films are from Fairfield County. So Weston, Wilton, Bridgeport, Norwalk. So a lot of local support, and we really encourage people to come and support those local Connecticut filmmakers.
Not just that, but there are 7 films that are from internationally. So that's also an interesting component. You're going to see all these films that are in other languages and subtitled in English. So that's really interesting for a lot of people to see too.
Yeah.
How far away are you having the student filmmaker come, or they're choosing to come to the festival? Any of them?
California
is probably the farthest that will come.
Yeah.
So if somebody wins who's from out of the country, they'll just be notified.
Well, there'll be a Skype video of their reaction on the screen as well.
That's cool.
That's what the award ceremony is going to be awesome this year.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So give everybody the website one more time, so we can.
It's WYFF.net.
WYFF.net.
Yep.
Okay, Kate, Matt, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for
so
having
much.
us, Susan.
Thank you.
I'm Susan Shaner. Until next time with Sage Leadership Strategies, thank you for joining us.